How you doing there, my dear friends? It's Dan. So good to see you. Oh, man, I'm live right now, live from beautiful Oak Lawn, Illinois. Great to see you. Hey, there's an idea, or I guess actually you could probably call this a strategy, really. It's a strategy for dealing with troubles by basically putting them in their proper perspective. It's kind of getting a perspective on things. I've heard people talk about this strategy before, and I've had a chance to kind of put this into play recently in my own life. I've had a chance to, I'm continuing actually to have a chance to apply this strategy with something we're dealing with, and you know what? It has worked. It's been very helpful for me. It's simple, but it's been very helpful. Now, I don't know that this particular strategy would work maybe for everyone. I don't know. It certainly would depend on the situation. It would definitely depend on the size of the problem that you're dealing with. But it's really been helpful for me. And I want to say, of course, you know that I know that the most important factor with anything we're dealing with in life is always God and God's wisdom and God's guidance and walking with Him. And I think, though, that God will sometimes give us just real practical strategies. He gives us those kinds of things for dealing with life. So anyhow, very simple, but the strategy for me worked like this. I've been dealing with a problem. It has to do with a big job that's occurring at our church here. And I hate to say this because this is actually very embarrassing to me personally, but it will help you understand the point I'm getting at if you know this part of it. So the problem that we're dealing with is the kind of thing that, no kidding, it would have, at one time, it would have caused me sleepless nights. It would have caused me way more stress than it really should. It would have been something that would have caused me a huge amount of worrying. No kidding. At one time in my life, there was a time, and again, I'm not proud of this. I'm embarrassed. But there was a time when I would have, in my mind, I would have made this problem 25 times bigger than it actually is. So here's what I did. From time to time, as I've been dealing with this, and I've gotten caught up in various aspects of dealing with this, and I've been frustrated and sort of at my wit's end, I've stopped. Just like, hold it, wait a minute, just in my own head. Just hold it, time out. I've stopped, and I've asked myself this question. Seriously asked me this question. Will this problem, and it's a real problem, it's got to be dealt with, but will this problem still be a huge issue in your life 6 months from now? And frankly, in the case of this particular problem, the answer is no. No, it won't. 6 months from now, 9 months, a year, whatever it is, some time frame, we'll be looking back on this problem. And we'll be going, oh, remember, I almost forgot about that. We were dealing with that last summer, and oh, man, what a mess that was. But it'll be over. Life will have gone on. Nobody died. The republic is still standing, and it will not be a factor anymore. Again, asking that simple little question. I know but it's been helpful. It really has. It's helped me. Will this terrible problem, this terrible thing, will it have a dramatic effect on my life 6 months from now? Answer, no, it will not. All right then, relax a little bit. Chill out. Stop, don't pull your hair out. Don't scream and yell and jump up and down, cry. Settle down. Yes, it has to be dealt with. No, you can't ignore it. No question about it. But all right then, deal with it, and let's move on. Hey, my dear friends, my beloved friends, is it possible you have some problems in your life that you've blown out of proportion? Maybe. And by the way, I understand there are some problems that exist in this world that may have negative effects for years to come. I get that. There are some granddaddies. I understand. There are some times when we genuinely face significant, long-term, lifelong altering problems. I know that's true, and I don't mean to minimize those problems. Not at all. You have my great sympathy for that. I get it. But if you're like me, you probably have a whole bunch of problems that actually could use a little bit of minimizing. Or maybe we could just say right-sizing. They need to be put in their proper perspective. That's all. By the way, I'm not trying to hurt. I'm trying to help. It will help us greatly if we will learn to put some of these things just in their proper perspective. I love you, but I got to say this. Most of the problems that you and I deal with, not all of them, most of them are not the end of the world. No, they're not. Come on. No, they're not. Most of them. And all I'm saying is it will help us to be able to learn to keep that in mind. This will be helpful for us. Perspective. Let's try to keep things in perspective.